On May 26, 2024, Jeff Leake walked to the pulpit at Allison Church in Pittsburgh.
10,000 panes of glass, a cathedral built to reflect the sky, cameras rolling, choir rising, a single voice filling the room. The building was designed to look eternal. The man was not. Robert Schuller stood beneath the light he helped create. Oral Roberts raised towers that pierced the Oklahoma horizon. Jeff Leake preached on Saturday night. By Sunday morning, one of them was gone. Not scandal, not fire, not empty seats. A heartbeat stopped, and the empire trembled. One, because these weren't just churches. They were systems built around a face, budgets built around a voice, expansion built around a name. When the name disappears and what survives, they built something bigger than themselves. But what if it only worked while they were alive? And what happens when the model requires immortality? Behind the stage lights was a machine, not metaphorical, financial, operational, precise. In the 1990s, the Crystal Cathedral operated on roughly $30 million a year. Broadcast crews, production teams, full-time staff. The sanctuary was only the visible part. The real weight lived in payroll. In Tulsa, Oral Roberts perfected seed faith, give to receive. Faith as transaction. Donations funded expansion. Expansion required more donations. By the time financial strains surfaced, the university carried over $50 million in debt. At Allison Church, the model evolved, but the math did not. 11 campuses meant 11 leases, 11 overhead structures, centralized technology, streaming infrastructure. Multi-site growth looks efficient until attendance dips. Hartford Institute research defines a megachurch as 2,000 or more weekly attendees, but that number hides the risk. Most revenue comes from voluntary giving. Fixed costs do not fluctuate, buildings stay, salaries stay, debt stays, only attendance moves. The model works at scale. It breaks in contraction, and contraction always comes. The institution was the person. It removed the person. What powers the machine? The first cracks were quiet. No headlines, no scandal. At the Crystal Cathedral, $50 million in renovations were completed between 2003 and 2007. Attendance had already begun to decline. The building demanded more than the congregation could sustain. At Oral Roberts University, enrollment slipped from 5,400 in the 1980s to 3,500 by the 2010s. The City of Faith Medical Center had closed in 1989, leaving debts mounting into the hundreds of millions. Faculty went unpaid. Accreditation wavered. At Allison Church, outward appearances were healthy. Modern campuses, social media savvy, enthusiastic volunteers, but the system depended on one heartbeat. Jeff Leake's sudden death in February 2026 exposed it instantly. The numbers told the story first. Declining donations, fewer volunteers, boards in conflict, and then the human cost arrived. Family disputes at Crystal Cathedral erupted in boardrooms. Richard Roberts resigned from Oral Roberts University amid lawsuits and spending scandals. Ordinary congregants became creditors. Students faced tuition hikes. Staff went unpaid. The spectacle of grandeur hid fragility. The empire looked eternal, but it was only as durable as the man at the center, and soon that center would be gone. Death arrived, not as a warning. Robert Schuller was ousted from his own board before he passed in 2015. His son resigned in 2008. His daughter took over. By October 2010, the Crystal Cathedral filed for bankruptcy. Debt, $43 million. Fixed costs, unyielding. Donations, shrinking. At Oral Roberts University, Richard Roberts resigned in 2007 amid scandal. The university owed over $50 million. Faculty voted no confidence. Emergency boards scrambled. Mark Green's family injected $70 million, rescuing the institution. But the celebrity empire was gone. When Jeff Leake died in 2026, Allison Church faced the same immediate questions. Who leads next? Who signs the checks? Who carries the vision? The answer never comes fast enough. Megachurches are personality-driven. 70% of significant growth megachurches collapse after their leader leaves. 30% transition successfully. The congregation is loyal to a face, not a building. When the face disappears, the empire trembles. And yet, the community mourns. Faith and infrastructure collide. The spectacle falters. The machine slows. And one heartbeat is enough to stop it completely. Crystal Cathedral, Oral Roberts University, Allison Park Church. The story repeats. Mars Hill Church, 15 campuses. Mark Driscoll resigns in 2014 amid allegations. Empire collapses. Hillsong Church. Carl Lent fired in 2020. Brian Houston resigns in 2022. Global network fractures. Willow Creek Community Church. Attendance drops 42% after Bill Hybels resigns in 2018. Different decades. Different theologies. Different continents. Same structural flaw. Personality-driven institutions cannot survive the departure of their founders. Spectacle replaces depth. Entertainment replaces formation. Growth becomes the only metric of success. The numbers confirm it. U.S. church membership falls below 50% in 2020. Gallup. Religiously unaffiliated Americans rise to 29% by 2021. Pew. Megachurch attendance plateaus or declines post-2010. COVID accelerated it. Online access removed obligation. People watched, but they stopped showing up. The mortality problem collided with relevance. Empty sanctuaries tell the truth before death occurs. The empire seems eternal until it isn't. And when the founder dies, the pattern becomes inevitable. Mortality is not scandal, it is math. Every system built around one irreplaceable leader carries a silent expiration date. The Hartford Institute reports the average megachurch budget ranges in the millions annually. Staff, facilities, technology, insurance. None of it pauses for grief. When Robert Schuller stepped back, Hour of Power ratings dropped sharply. Donations fell nearly 30% within a year. When Oral Roberts aged, the healing crusades faded. The City of Faith closed years earlier. Momentum had already slowed. When Jeff Leake died suddenly at 61, there was no transition runway, no gradual handoff, no slow fade, just absence. Now small churches survive pastoral change because they are community first. Megachurches invert the formula. Community forms around personality, remove personality. Community fractures. In one documented case reported by Church Law and Tax, a megachurch dropped from 25,000 members to under 250 after its founding pastor died suddenly. Litigation followed. Asset disputes followed. The building remained. The people left. The model required constant growth to sustain fixed costs. But growth requires energy. Energy requires charisma. Charisma requires a living center. And living centers die. The model required immortality. And immortality is not available. So what survives when the face disappears? The cathedral still stands. The glass reflects the sky. The pews are polished. The camera still rolls. But the empire is gone. Crystal Cathedral now belongs to a Catholic diocese. $57 million later, it reopens as Christ Cathedral. The brand survives, but the scale does not. Oral Roberts University exists, stabilized by emergency donors. Enrollment, 4,600. Prominence, lost. Healing crusades, gone. Celebrity, gone. Vision, altered. Allison Park Church continues, but it will never be defined by the man who built it. Smaller, different, adapted. The system shifts from spectacle to survival. They built empires that required them never to die. But men die, buildings survive, movements collapse. And the question lingers, was this faith or a franchise? Who truly succeeded? The answer is still uncertain, and the glass still waits.